Hello, everyone. But not really late as per usual. Today we're kind of on time. Um,
There's no such thing.
so I was caught off guard a bit because Willow just started singing the intro before the intro. So I was like, anyways,
You know what happens when you hum, Chris?
no, I don't.
Yeah, bears.
So, as you can see, it's George, Karen, Willow. Z's not going to be here, but he'll be here with us, I think. Might be watching. But yeah, we're going into this game, Sunderland, quarter-final, Carabao Cup.
Carabobbins.
Okay, Carabao Cup. We haven't been this. Well, last time we went this far was Emery. What did you guys make of the game going into tomorrow?
I'm in a weird place in this game. I'm not gonna lie, because I've told you, Chris, from before, right? I'm not a fan of us going through, and I think a lot of people are surprised to hear that. And it's just because I'm not a fan of having a two-legged tie in January with who we got in January and the fixture congestion, because then that adds essentially one more final in the first week of February, right before Liverpool. That's typically when they're played, and then it's got a two-legged semifinal in between City, Spurs, and Burnley. So for me, I'm not playing a single first-team starter, and I unfortunately hope that we don't get a positive result, and it's not because I don't think that we can't win the Carabao Cup. I just don't place that trophy in importance. For me, top four becomes before anything else, and I do think, given the fixtures that we have, getting maximum points in January is essential, especially with the people that have unplayed games. Like, I think getting points on the board are going to be more valuable than ever. I would rather have points on the board and secured than games in hand every day of the week. And, I just think that in January, we've seen the effects on the squad. Like, the squad looks tired, guys. Like Granit Xhaka, Odegaard, some of these big players within the team, Laka. Like, the reason we drop off, a lot of it is physical for me. And when your physical goes, your loose touching happens. And for me, that's related. And I think it's because this squad and this team just isn't ready to do that every 3 days. And the longer we do it, the more stretched an already small squad is. And so for me, I'm kind of opposite to a lot of people's feelings on this. I'd hope we don't go too far. But at the same token, I think Sunderland aren't a very good team. I think their manager did a very stupid thing. And they're almost a B-Tech
backtracking now. Did you see that?
Yeah, of course I did. I mean, they all do. I think they're a B-Tech Wimbledon in the sense that they're a tall team.
Where is this tea coming from? It's
Is that Wimbledon when you say Wimbledon?
Where is this tea coming? Wimbledon.
Don't worry about its pronunciation. It will never change.
I'm never going to change it. And then once I clock that it annoys you, I'm going to keep doing it. But anyways, they're a B-Tech Wimbledon. And they're a tall team, right, guys? Like, they're very physical, they're hard in the middle, and I'm worried if we have a youngster play. We had some kind of debate. I'm sure we'll probably have it on the live in terms of if now's the right time for somebody like a Patino and in those sections. Maybe have a debate about when you introduce youngsters to adult football. But on the whole, I'm pretty worried about the prospect of us going through, because I don't think Sunderland are good enough to pose really a challenge. So regardless of whatever 11 that we put out there, I see a pretty simple win, but it's not something I'm looking forward to, ironically.
Karen, Willow?
For me, this is kind of there's a no-win situation for me here, because I do understand that obviously it's a cup and it's a cup and you want to win a cup. And as much as I would like to win this cup and, assured that we won't be without Europe and whatever. I mean, obviously it'll be Conference League and not Europa League, and obviously not Champions League. But still, it assures that you don't have any another season like here where we're just sitting once a week. But the point is, where our ambitions are for top four this season, and that is got to be the focus, and that's got to be the aim. So if you look at the competition like this, you're risking players. You're risking an extra games, as George mentioned. You're also risking the chance of injury for players that may need to be used later on in the season when the likes of, I don't know, say Gabriel or a White or maybe like an Erdegaard or a Lacazette get injured or something like this. So my thing is we need to be very careful with who we play this game. It's been 2 years under Mikel, so he's probably going to want to put on some form of show. So I'm interested to see what people are thinking about lineups and what we're thinking about youth talent and how we're going to balance this lineup, how serious we're going to take it as well. So yeah, just curious to see what you guys think. I have my own thoughts, but yeah.
And Willa, before we get into the in-depth into things, what do you think about the game tomorrow?
I just don't, as George said, I don't want to see any of the starting 11 in the team. I just want to see kind of, the bench, reserves, kind of get some game time, maybe some youth players as well. I don't really care, but I'm not in the same sense where I would want to lose the game. I love momentum, and at the moment we are on momentum. We're on 3 wins and a bounce. I would like to make it 4 with you team. I just want us to not take this competition too seriously. So don't play great players, don't play the starting 11, and then if we do get through, then even in the next 2 games, don't take it too seriously. Again, let the youth and bench reserve players play them 2 games as well. Just don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, so for me, I've always had even before the season, I had a feeling that we're going to win the trophy. So I obviously do think we're going to win the game. I don't think it's our most important game. No, he won't play. He has COVID. So guys like
Same as
Mari can't
Lukonga.
play. Lukonga can't play. So it makes it more likely we will see a youngster. Let's get into that. I think obviously Lukonga being out, the Ainsley situation. Do you guys think we'll see a youngster in midfield or anywhere else? Because there was news about us seeing Patino and stuff like that. So
I hope we don't, because I feel that look, Granit Xhaka could use some technical portions to his game still. Like he's still working back, not necessarily sharp. Sharpness is probably the word. He's not match fit, I would call it. I would call him, fitness wise, he's fine. He can run for 90 minutes, but there's still a lot of technical issues I have with him. So I would absolutely hope that we pair him with El Neni in the middle of the park and we don't go with a youngster. I know we'll probably have a debate here because I'm not a fan of putting Charlie Patino in this game, especially against this type of opposition. When you introduce youngsters into a team, they have to be in the right environment. And while I get the point that, you can't bubble wrap, players to the point of there's going to be a time when they need to have a test. For me, there's a time when that can come too early. And I mean, the kid's still just 17. He's not had a full season of U23 football. He has been in and out of injuries at the U23s, even this season. He's just physically not ready for that step up. And I worry about a team that is so physical, like I said, a BTEC Wimbledon. And it's not going to be good for me in the middle of the park. I feel that there's no need to do that. If anything, what we could do is with Callum Chambers, Rob Holding, and people at the back, we could maybe introduce a center back like Omar Rekic, who's had a very good season with the under-23s, played every game, been doing really, really well in great form. And that's a player that's physically ready. He's represented Tunisia at international level. Like this is somebody who has had not just previous adult football experience, but he's played on the big stage. So for me, that's the type of person who, again, also, by the way, is 20, nearing on 21. We're talking about more of an experienced player, somebody physically developed that can handle the challenge. So I'm worried about our injuries, particularly with Lukonga and Pablo Mari being out as well. You basically just have Mohamed El Neni along with your starting pivot. And so for me, I actually think that a Granit Xhaka game would be good for him. 60 minutes, get some touches into his game because I feel he needs it. Not from a fitness standpoint, but just from a technique. He's been off. The last game was pretty good in the first half, but then he fell off again. And I think that's because he's been out for a while. So he's somebody that for me that could use minutes. So I would have him as one of the experienced guys in a heavily rotated squad. And then you kind of go throughout. Maybe we'll give lineups later, but for me, I think the Patino discussion is probably the big one for all the lads here, and whether you would stick or twist with that. For me, it's a no, and that's because you absolutely remember your first time. Like, first impressions matter. And for me, you need to be in the right environment. And I would rather that we had a much more complete squad in squad depth, that we can surround him with experience across the board. And unfortunately, I think we're going to have a very young back line. We're going to have Bernd Leno, who's going to put us under pressure. Absolutely. That's a given. And then you're going to have a very young front line in addition. And I don't think surrounding youth in the engine room with inexperience back and front is a smart thing to do. I would definitely want him amongst a bunch of professionals all the way around, surrounded, and that's the time I would include, a youngster.
Yeah, and for me, obviously, with Patino, obviously technically he's very good. Physically is where he isn't as good and needs to grow. Sunderland have been good this season in their league. They're third. They're a big team. They've got they play a 3-5-2 with 6 foot strong midfielders. So versus Patino, I'm not sure how he fares. Obviously I'd prefer to see Elneny Ainsley, but it's looking like Ainsley probably won't play. I'm not sure he even trained. So Ainsley's looking like he won't be there. And then Lokonga's out with COVID, so then it's Partey, Xhaka, and Elneny as your 3 options. And I think he'll go Xhaka Elneny probably if that happens, or Patino Elneny. I'd prefer Xhaka Elneny just to maybe as you said, to get Xhaka his tempo back up, like his touches back up, and to be consistent. Rekic, obviously, it would be a nice birthday present for him if Mikel wants to do that, because this is his birthday today, to give him the start. I don't think he will. Maybe he does let Rekic play Chambers in midfield, and he does something like that. I'm just not sure we see something like that.
I don't think he sees Chambers in midfield ever. He sees him exclusively as a right back or a center back, and that's why for me, you can have a case where you don't have to play Cedric when you put Rekic in the back there, who performs a very similar role for the under-23s. He's the main ball-carrying progressor, just like Ben White, and he carries it into midfield. So you can totally have a back line, essentially, of Tavares holding Rekic and Chambers. So for me, that's the ploy, because I'm not seeing Cedric again. That guy gave me 3 heart attacks in the span of 25 minutes, and he's just not it. So yeah, I'm not playing him.
I mean, this is the other thing. I mean, so we see a lot of people are clamoring for Charlie Patino, and I understand, because he's had some great performances on in the under-23s. But my thing is a similar thing happened with Miguel Aziz, because Miguel Aziz is now at Portsmouth, and he's understanding with the same coach that was with Emile when he went on loan. And this is the thing, I don't want Patino exposed to a team that's extremely physical, that will rough him up and may injure him, especially at a very, very crucial time in his development. So it's not Patino, it's Patillone for right now. It's not something that I want to see at this moment in time. Yeah, there you go. There's the winces I was looking for. Hold that. But yeah, my thing is I just want to make sure that he's physically ready for first team football, and I don't really see that at this moment in time. I can't be assured that he will escape this without an injury that could hamper him for the rest of his career.
Willow, what do you think of Patino? Because that was the big news. Patino might start.
He's trending on Twitter.
See, for me, the conversation at the moment is basically Xhaka or Patino. And who would I rather risk an injury to? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to say Charlie Patino. Xhaka is imperative to what we do this season, especially if AFCON goes ahead. We're going to need Granit Xhaka in these big games. I'm not letting Granit get injured. We need Granit. Granit is crucial to what we do. So if I've got to put a boy in there, I've got to put a boy in there, because Ainsley obviously has fell out. Lokonga's got COVID. Elneny starts. So Patino's got to start with him. He played... it's not like he has not played a League One side this season. He played Ipswich this season. He done all right in the game. He played 45 minutes.
Once.
Yeah, once. I don't care once, though. Am I risking Xhaka or am I risking Patino? If Xhaka got injured, we're all thinking, fuck. If Patino got injured, I feel sorry for the lad, but it's not going to wreck my season. It's not going to stop our top 4 chances. And I'm not letting anything jeopardise that. So for me, Patino definitely starts.
Yeah, so for me, it's obviously I wouldn't like complain. At the end of the day, someone has to start, and because of the COVID, I really hope just he plays Ainsley. It really seems like he won't. I just hope he does, even though I'm not sure he will. I think that's the easy situation, but
because he's not in any training picks either, right, mate?
Yeah, he hasn't been for a minute now. I don't remember the last time I saw him. But if he doesn't go over Ainsley, but he doesn't have the numbers to not play Ainsley because of Lokonga being out. So I think he will do it. But apart from that, which other youngsters would you like to see? Obviously, Balogun.
Aladdin, I think, is someone.
No, I want Balogun to start. Actually,
Balogun
should we do lineups across the board?
Yeah, let's do lineups.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like
I think we need to do a subs bench though as well because it's.
I'm not doing subs bench.
We have to because it's got to be to do with the youngsters that will be on the bench as well. I think that's.
I mean, Salah-Dean will come because he trained as well. As well,
Okonkwo will be obviously on the bench.
Okonkwo will come on the bench, but
like Salah-Dean with El Neni.
No, because that's not his position.
That's not his position at all.
Yeah,
I know.
But no. So from a lineup perspective, Bernd Leno is going to come back in, and that scares me enough. And that's why I'd probably want the only person I need in that back line is somebody that's able to receive and is not afraid to step up. And I don't want that happening with Holding. There's a difference between having a false bravado and being able to do it. And for me, that boy scares me when he's asked to progress the ball. So I'd have him at left center back. I'd have Brekic actually start the game. I think he is physically ready. The difference between him and Patino is I've seen him at international level. I've seen him play more than just 45 minutes in adult football, and he's not 17 years old, still growing. He is a fully fledged international, well-grown, having a great season, played more games than Patino, and he's in the role that we need. And it allows me to basically put Chambers at right back and not have to see Cedric. Definitely starting Tavares. And then in the middle of the park, I'm starting Granit Xhaka, Mohamed El Neni. Then I'm doing Balogun up front. I'm probably doing Eddie Nketiah, Nicolas Pepe. And in the hole, I'm doing Martin Odegaard. And that might be a surprise. But for me, I feel as though I want something different at Norwich away in the hole. And I think in away games, we need to approach things a little bit different. And we'll maybe have a discussion for the preview. But for me, he is somebody that's looked tired, but I feel as though surrounded by Granit Xhaka, Mohamed El Neni, and these two runners, he should have a very decent game. And with Balogun coming deep, somebody to combine with and do the physical stuff, he should actually have a pretty good game. And I kind of want him to have his game this week and Emile on the weekend. That's how I would start to split these minutes up. And, I wouldn't have Odegaard start at Carrow Road, have him come on as a finisher, have him come on to control the game after we've gone 3-0 up and we've pressed our way through. Whereas on this game, I would like to take advantage and I'd like us to dominate possession and not let the big people in the middle of the park have it. So that's the reason I'd probably have him start, which might be confusing because I've said he's needed a rest for a while, but it is motivated because I don't want to see him start at Carrow Road.
I mean,
you're muted, my son.
I mean, I'll just do mine while CK sorts out his technical issues. But I'll do mine. So mine, I actually start Okonkwo. I think he should. It would be a good game for him to get into.
Ooh.
And
against Sunderland.
Yeah, I think I do.
Claiming crosses.
Claiming crosses, correct. I do think that it is a game for. I don't know what's happened with Bird. I think he's not been on the bench for a couple of games.
Well, he was injured. He had a groin injury.
I don't know. I know there's a groin injury, but the fact is he back yet?
Yeah.
Is he fully
back
fit?
in training?
Because I haven't seen the training pictures today.
He's back in training.
Okay, so even so, I still think it's a game for Arthur. I think that he was ridiculed a bit for that Hibernian game in preseason. I do think that this is a game where you go, okay, see what you've got. And he is someone that I do rate very highly personally. So I would go with Arthur. I go Kolasinac at left back. I go Holding.
He's injured still, mate.
Is he still injured?
Yeah.
Was he not in pictures? I thought he was back.
No, he's back in January.
I thought he was back. Let me think. So Tavares, Holding, Chambers, and do I go Cedric? Yeah, probably Cedric, and then it'll probably be El Neni and Xhaka, and then this is my thing. I think a 60-minute burst of Patino off the bench I can deal with, but not 90 minutes, not starting. I can't. No, a tiring team, fair, but not starting.
Ainsley was at Leeds apparently, like with the team. He wasn't.
But he wasn't in
he was
training
on the
pitches
bench.
today. I heard because the thing is,
He was on the bench.
this is pissing me off because I haven't had time to look at the training pitches today, and
he wasn't in the pictures today.
This is what's annoying me. So I'm trying to think who's available and who's not. And so I would have Erdegaard, I would have Pepe, Nketiah, and Balogun. That would be my starting four. And for me, I agree with George. I do think that you want to start a meal at Carrow Road. But my thing is I think for this game, you need to split it between the two of them. One half Emil, one half Erdegaard. And I don't care which order you do it in, but just go, because both of them are struggling for fitness. So just split it, but just right down the middle. Just say, okay, you're going to get 45, then we'll take you off and go home, or stay on the bench and rest. And then Emil can come on the second half, or vice versa. I don't care. Just make sure that we're limiting both minutes as much as possible. And obviously Balogun up top. I really, really feel that this is a game that he can really either push a case for a loan.
I'll be upset with Mikel. I'm going to put it on record right now. Mikel doesn't start Balogun. I don't get the seniority or dressing room seniority point from before. Oba's no longer in the team. You don't want to risk Lacazette. There is no other physical choice. And unless you have Eddie, who, by the way, absolutely has been playing left wing and been playing left wing very, very well. You don't need him to lead the line. I would be very upset if Balogun doesn't play. And I think he deserves adequate criticism if he doesn't.
Yeah, the only way Balogun doesn't play is if Alba's back. If Alba's back,
no, but Oba's back. Like we know that he's not back because he's not been in training.
He's not, because there's the thing. I haven't seen the training pics, which is annoying me. I should have seen the training pics. But if he's not back, then Balogun has to play. I want to see the main thing I want to see from this game is I want to show that it's just like, because the main criticism this year has been, but we've had the first 3 games, players were injured, we're rubbish without our first 11. So I want to see some performances from some people. I want to see a similar performance to Wimbledon. I want to see some people step up and really play.
Well, that's Wimbledon. We had Saka, Erdegaard, Aubameyang, and I forgot that.
But wouldn't they come off the bench though?
No, they were starting.
Jesus Christ, I'm off it today.
They started so that we could get a run in. But for me, the starting lineup, obviously, we have that guy in goal. We have
say his name.
Cedric at right back. We have Chambers, Holding, Tavares. I think it's going to be El Neni and Patino, but I want Ainsley to be there.
Yeah, me too.
Right wing, Pepe. Left wing, Eddie. Up top, Balogun. And in the 10, Erdegaard. I think our press won't be as good just because of Erdegaard and Balogun being there, but
it doesn't need to be. For me, I want to face a low block.
Yeah, correct. I mean,
but,
the other thing is,
I think Balogun starting will spur him on, because I think he didn't necessarily take his chance versus Brentford. It's probably the worst I've seen him technically in a long time.
Are you lads not worried about Cedric? I've seen you guys all go for Cedric. Is there?
Do you want to
lose this game, bro?
I'm always worried about Cedric.
Sorry,
I'm always worried about Cedric.
But I don't think Rekic starts. If he starts, I wouldn't mind. But like, do I want to see?
Cedric worries me, guys. Like, I think Cedric
this
season, like he has physically costed points more than any other player. Think about it.
Chambers is competing with him for that.
I wouldn't mind starting.
Competed it, but Cedric was worse for me than Chambers was.
Like legit, if it comes to it, I wouldn't even mind starting Zayn, for God's sake. Like anyone but Cedric. But I just feel like I think Cedric will play this game. I do feel that.
I don't think so, because of his cameo that he got at the weekend. He was horrendous. He basically cost the penalty, and I think that Mikel will use that to kind of hang himself in a rope sense. You know, like he had his opportunity. He had his opportunity to come back out of the fold, and he's really played very, very poorly. And I think surrounding him with Omar Rekic, that actually suits Callum Chambers to be a little bit less bombing on. It suits him to have more of that right center back role as opposed to a right back. And, when Rekic pushes up, you're going to have, Callum be a little bit more inverted, and it's very unlikely that he'll, overlap there in that aspect. And that's partly why I think Pepe will have a bad game, because I do have Odegaard in the hole there. But I think Eddie will have a good game. And for me, this whole game is going to be predicated on a low block. I don't think that we're going to see a transition game. I hope we don't see a transition game, but in that sense,
I love an entertaining game that we lost. I would love just like a battle that we just went. You know what I mean? Just like a crazy like 5-4 that we lost. But
you would love that.
I don't want us advancing in this competition. I'll be honest. I'm with George on this. I don't want to see us playing two legs.
You don't want to lose.
I'll take the heat on the timeline for
George. You don't want to lose either.
No.
You don't want to lose, but I'm very much a case of I think that advancing is going to impact us negatively.
Correct.
And I don't think you ever want us to lose. I don't think you ever want to lose a game. But
a loss is something we don't need for the narrative.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want the heat, and I don't like. The thing is, as well as if you can game manage it and not take it too seriously for the next two games, there's no reason why it should cost us too many issues.
Because, mate, when you go to a semi-final, teams are different. No matter who you're going to get, whether it's Leicester, who've been in poor form, who actually, let's run through the potential semi-finals. I think that's a fair thing. But I had a look, and there was only one team because West Ham are still in it, right? Chelsea are still in it.
Yeah.
Tottenham, Brentford.
Tottenham and Brentford. No, those aren't easy teams. Brentford is probably the only one that you would hope and cross your fingers.
I will be real, right? If we went out and Tottenham went through, I would not be sad.
I care about Tottenham.
I know, but like I just don't care.
Brentford,
about
Chelsea,
right now.
Tottenham, Brentford versus Chelsea, Tottenham versus West Ham, and Liverpool versus Leicester. Obviously, you want to avoid Liverpool and Chelsea in a two-leg. If we do go through, I think we want to avoid Liverpool and Chelsea in a two-leg and just hopefully get anybody else. But who would you like least or
Wait, can
most?
I do my starting 11?
Oh shit! Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think I'd go Okonkwo as well. I'd go Chambers, Rekic, Holding, Tavares. I'm going Patino, El Neni, and then I'm not playing Smith Rowe or Odegaard. I'm going to front four of Pepe, Salah. Who's I going with the left?
So you're going young boys. You're going full Wenger.
Nketiah on the left and then Balogun up top. That's my team.
So you're going full Wenger with it.
It's not full. There are experience, but
down the spine, you basically got youngsters.
Yeah,
not basically. You do. You've got
Rekic. You got Rekic, Patino, Okonkwo, Edin, and Balogun. Don't you think that's good experience?
No, I think it's fine. I honestly think it's fine because, as I said, it's a free hit for me. I don't care if I win this game or not. You give them experience, you let them play.
I hate that saying because free. Don't know.
What do you mean? Okay.
No. I cannot stand it.
No, this is a fair discussion though because
you say you can't stand it. Corin, you've literally said the exact same thing without using the word free hit.
I haven't said free hit. What I've said is it's not important to us to win or lose the game. I'm not saying free hit. It's not like if we win, it's great. If we lose it's not. I prefer we lose this game. Honestly.
I think it's a very fair discussion because you have it from a different aspect, Willow. Like you feel that it's a sense of a throwaway game. The youth, if you would like somebody to get injured, you'd probably want the youth, right? Like that's one view.
If we played the first team and someone got injured, I would want to slap everyone in the face who made that decision. Because I don't want top four. Because then I would come for everyone. If Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Xhaka, if one of them start and get injured, I will be pissed.
So then your fears for experience, and then I think the other flip coin is because I'm fearful that youngsters don't recover from these things, and you do only arrive once for me. And it's not even so much the injuries; it's also the impression that you have when you enter the first team, and we've seen it thousands of times before with youngsters that when they don't come in and impress, it's very cutthroat. And so for me, I look at it from slightly different angles of saying that you could almost end a youngster's career before it started by doing this. And I certainly worry when I use a physical team from League One or anywhere that are physical. Like Sunderland aren't, if it was like a Brentford or somebody that liked to play ball, I actually wouldn't mind a lot of youth in the spine. But the fact is they're going to have adults that know the dark arts, and not even just know the dark arts, but there's going to be
proficient.
Yeah, like they're Stoke-like in how they play. And for me, that's scary along the spine of people that are inexperienced. I think it
and injured that game.
Yeah, but do you know what scares me though? Erdegaard playing a physical team. That scares the shit out of me, especially a physical, dirty team like that. That's the one person I would not want to put in that team is someone like Martin Erdegaard.
Salah Adine and Patino is even worse in that situation.
For me, look, I'm cutthroat with it at the end of the day. I don't want anything stopping my top 4 chances. No. And, you know...
Look. I'll just address, because you said it was a free... It's basically saying it's a free hit without a free hit. No. If a free hit is... When you say a free hit is... If it goes off and goes great, amazing, great. If we lose, then it is what it is. It's literally the opposite. If we lose this game, fine. I'm literally fine with it. I would be happier.
No,
I think people
I'm not happy.
I think it's the same thing, mate.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing because I prefer if we lose this game. If we lose this game,
so that means you're saying it's even more of a free hit because you don't care.
No, it's the opposite. It's literally the opposite because winning is a good thing in a free hit. Losing is a good thing in this scenario. Do you understand?
Why are you putting an experienced team out then if you want to lose this game?
No, I'm because the fact of the matter is the players that you're saying are medically and physically not ready.
So you want to lose?
You want to lose this game, but I would prefer
because I do not want the fixture congestion later on. That is my main thing.
Honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't care about the fixture congestion. Like, honestly, if the team need to win and will want to win, that's what I'm thinking. I don't think Arteta will go out or go into this thinking, we can afford to lose this one.
No, he never will.
I don't think you can afford to lose, but there's a very real fear of congestion in a team that's a small team. We don't have a deep squad, and you don't
every win. Sorry to cut you off, but every single win you can get, especially where you play the French players and you don't know what a win could do for their form.
But didn't we see this last season in our fixture congestions? You end up having to make a choice when you run deep in these types of competitions, whether it's Carabao Cup, FA Cup, whatever tournament you want the team to be competitive in. It has an effect on a squad that we don't have the depth towards. So I think it's really disingenuous that anyone wants us to lose. That's definitely never a case. But, I always want to win with whatever team we put out. But fundamentally, I'm also not going to act like, in my opinion, a fixture congestion hurts our top 4 chances. The same way that Willow believes, if we start an experienced pro and they could get injured, that could hurt our top 4 chances. I absolutely think that fixture congestion in January, February, having these games right before Liverpool, by the way, losing a final for me, far more detrimental to then facing Liverpool and having that 2 losses on the bounce in February is far more detrimental than, say, a loss in the middle of Boxing Day that we then pick up a win against Carabao.
Also, one more point. Also, list the teams that you just mentioned in the quarterfinals: Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. I think there was someone.
Brentford,
Leicester, right? West Ham, right? West Ham, Chelsea, and Tottenham are all in the top 4 race. That's an extra 2 games for them. I'm sorry, I prefer not to be mixing it up in that for no reason.
I want to go through and face Tottenham.
I don't care about it.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
I don't care about that.
I would worry about that massively. Tottenham are probably the one team I do not want.
I do want
3 times in 2 weeks.
3 times in January. That's exactly why I'd want them.
No, if anything, I would want Liverpool, who are decimated by AFCON.
Yeah, because they don't take this competition too seriously either. This is the thing. Liverpool have never took this. So if we do play Liverpool, if we do play a Liverpool side, we're not playing this Salah like Fabinho or anything like that. We're going to be playing their under-23 squad. Like, let's be real. We will. it's not going to be this huge team. And if we're really worried about Charlie
I don't think
Coutinho,
Mikel has, because that's my fear, mate. Like, Mikel has never done what Wenger did. Mikel always puts a strong team. Like, guys, this is my fear. Like, in theory, what you're saying makes total sense, Willow. 100%. You know, match up with less teams, you know, not the first team. But I've never seen Mikel, even in throwaway Europa League games, play a light, you know, squad. We've never even seen that, even when we had Europa League to contend with. So for me, just understanding that, and by the way, I think that's culture related, right? He wants accountability, that every game is not a throwaway. In fact, Mikel completely disagrees with mine and Curran's fears. You know, he completely wants every game to be played to the
as he should. And
you should, from a culture perspective.
Yeah.
But I will reiterate, it does absolutely play on this squad, because if we face a team, you're facing the first team, and you're doing that in January, which, by the way, every time this Arsenal team has played 3 games or less than 3 games, we've played poor.
Yeah, I don't want to win either, but this is the thing. You put a squad out that's not going to win the game. Like, to be honest,
I went experienced. I would argue yours didn't.
Let's go and get a bit of Jack Wilshere on a a free contract, because who cares what happens to him? Like, no offense to Jackie boy, we love him, but
would you not mind that in the Odegaard role?
You
pay as you play.
Run it back.
I don't want to see him pull an Arsenal top again. You can wear the training and stuff.
He wore this Arsenal top. This is the Arsenal top he wore.
Arteta said it. Like, obviously, he could play in the Prem again, but not for us.
Look, I will say, winning a trophy for this young squad does wonders, no matter what it is. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Super League, whatever you want to title the title as. It does wonders for a young squad. The issue that I have right now is I've seen this story with Arsenal close to top 4 for nearly 2 seasons now, that has seen fixture congestion play a role in us not getting the points we need and losing games that we should. And the difference has been 1 or 2 games both times. It hasn't been a case that we just weren't good enough. It hasn't been a case that the distance between the top 4 was just too great for us to achieve. We've always been there or thereabouts. And typically we've lost it based on 2 or 3 games when you look across the season that we should have won against teams outside the top 6. And whenever you add fixture congestion and risk to injury against a smaller squad, I feel you lower the probability of maintaining consistency of starting 11s throughout the course of the season. So that's really where I'm coming from in a logic sense. And I don't want us to lose. I never want us to lose, but I'll be honest, I won't be devastated if there's a negative result here. And that's kind of where I stand with it. And I'm not quite, on some of the other lads. Like, I'm actually playing a very experienced backline. The only one is Rekic for me. He's the only youngster that I'm including because I consider Balogun a first teamer.
I didn't include a single. The only one I did was a Conco, I think.
And Balogun. Not Balogun the first team or U23?
No, the back line. I think that was the only one I included. So the only thing I'm going to say...
I'm worried about Okonkwo. I'm not going to lie, guys. He's not ready for claiming crosses right now. He's also similarly underdeveloped, and it's a weakness of his. So I would be worried about him against Sunderland.
I wouldn't mind Leno. I wouldn't mind him. I just thought maybe it could be a chance. But if it's Leno, it's Leno. I don't really mind. But
maybe people in the chat, like, there's been clearly some debate. I do want to kind of move on because we've been on this topic for a while. But maybe you guys in the chat, is success in a cup worth the risk of fixture congestion, or do you kind of side with the other lads in terms of saying, you know what, we need success, and if we don't, we can just put kids out there because ultimately we don't want it to affect the first team chances. Like, what's a worse fear, fixture congestion or injury to first team players?
I'm with both, though. This is the thing. I'm with fixture congestion and injury to first team players. I don't want to go through either with the fixture congestion.
Yeah. You do have a lot more.
Fixture congestion will bring injuries anyways, though. Like, even without it, we'll be getting injuries. For me, I think we're going to get... forget the thing. I want us to win the game and then go into the semi-finals. I want the run to win the games. I think having them games and winning them games and then winning the cup in February bodes well, especially for the team. That ecstasy, there's nothing else we could do in the season or mid-season that would spur us on and give us momentum. We could beat Man City and it's not as good as winning the Carabao Cup. Even if you play Brentford in the final, beating Man City wouldn't do as much as it for you. So for me, winning the cup, and for the players, especially like a lot of them haven't won a trophy.
Can I ask you a question, Chris?
So
let's
yeah.
give you two scenarios. You win the Carabao Cup, but you miss out on top 4 by 6 points.
We won't, but yeah, what's the other scenario?
Or you miss out on the Carabao Cup, losing this game or the semis, wherever you want to lose it, but you get top 4. What's more important for this young squad's momentum?
Obviously top 4, but what if you win it and then get top 4 as well?
I mean, that's obviously the 2 wins make a win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
Before we do
because
move on,
ideally you want that.
Because we do need to talk about what's actually going to happen in the game. But before we do move on, the main thing I'm going to say is, look, there are arguments from both sides that I understand, but my thing is, it's been there's 3 points I'm going to make. One is our youth either is not ready or needs to play. If they're not ready, and Mikel will know this more than any of us, if they're ready, if Patino's been balling out on the practice field and he looks like he's physically ready, which I don't think he is from what I've seen of him. But if he looks physically ready and Mikel throws him in,
it's impossible for him to be physically ready, but he could have been training well.
Exactly, he could have been training well, and you know what I mean. He could ball out for 90 minutes. Great. I
will criticize Mikel if he plays Patino.
I will too.
100%.
I will too. But the point is if he plays great, he plays great. The second point is, with that, it means that if I just don't want them to be risked, and I think that our academy is our future at this moment in time, and we need to be looking at these players and looking to make sure that they are either going to be progressing at a level that we can either sell them on for profit or being able to come to bring them into the first team. The second point is top 4 has to be the. Maybe I'm too blind. Maybe I'm just going to go, I've got the blinders on, top 4 is the only goal.
But Carabao Cup doesn't take away from top 4.
It's 2 more games in January and February, which are already the toughest months of the season.
It doesn't take away from top 4 going into this kind of, like, for me, the big issue is that it's Sunderland. If it was another team, I don't think I'd care as much. But because they're a League One team, I don't want to lose.
We're gonna
do you not think that fixture congestion plays a role?
No, but let me just remember. The January and February run has got something stupid like City, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea.
It's got City.
Yeah.
It's got Tottenham,
Chelsea.
Burnley, Liverpool. Is the run of fixtures in between the semis and the final. And that already carries 2 of the top 6, in addition to a Burnley team that are searching for points.
Granted, Chelsea. That's at Chelsea. You're playing February 12th.
We're not playing Chelsea.
No. It's got cancelled because of
the final typically is in the first week.
But the other thing is as well, though, we have an advantage at the moment against a lot of teams like Tottenham, Manchester United. Because
what's the advantage?
Because they've had games called off. So they've had games called off because of it. So they're going to have to play more games in February and January. So I want that advantage. We get a week to prepare for that game while they've got to play a game literally every 3 days. If we go further in this, it just kills our advantage against them.
That's what I mean. There is no competitive
but we're surrendering our advantage just for the Carabao Cup.
And also,
it's not surrender.
It is surrendering it because we're playing another game when they are playing when they were playing the game.
Them teams are more than likely playing 2 games as well. Chelsea or.
But that's my point. Why are we playing extra games?
That's our point.
But you're not surrendering if Spurs are doing the same thing.
No, we would be. The point that they're trying to make, Chris, is that those teams are playing a higher number of games, therefore higher risk for injury. That is the fear towards top 4. At the current moment,
Spurs are going to play 3 extra games in whenever they play it, February, January.
Whenever, but they're playing it regardless, mate, because they're playing catch up on games. We don't have to play it regardless.
That's why I'm saying.
If you do play them, they have 5 though instead of 3. So it's still the same number. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, we had this with Wenger, and it doesn't help.
We have to do.
For me, like obviously, it's a Wenger thing to not care about these trophies and then lose. It's the same thing with Klopp. They don't domestics wasn't important.
But why do they do that? Why do the biggest managers do that when they're looking
just
for
it was them
consistency?
two. Everyone else cared about it. Them
No,
two are the ones.
No, but CK also though. Look at who's won it in the last 5 years. Pep Guardiola has won it literally every year for the last 5 years. Why is that? Because they've got such a huge squad and the squad depth. We don't have it.
Even before Pep, Jose was winning it. These guys played with they cared about the domestics because it helps. Like Wenger and Klopp, they didn't. Apart from FA Cup, Wenger never won.
My point that I always circle back to: if top 4 is the absolute thing that I think all 4 of us can agree we must achieve. And obviously, Chris, I get your point if you win both, but I think that's a mute point because that's just positive outcome all the way. Like we all would want that. And if that was a guarantee from the start, no one would question the opposition to it. But my question has always been, in the last 2 years, what has prevented Arsenal from getting top 4? Because
injuries.
Sorry? It's not Carabao, but what has it been in your opinion? If it's been 6 points,
it was losing to the small teams when he didn't need to.
Okay,
lose.
And what could be reasons for losing to small teams?
Even with injuries, I expect us to beat the small teams. I think,
but we didn't have consistency because we weren't able to field a consistent starting 11. A big reason that we've managed consistent results this season is because we've managed a consistent 11, a back 6, consistently. And for me,
sorry, George.
But for me, the point is the fixture congestion increases your risk for injury and therefore back 6 injuries.
What's to say the starting 11 have to start those cup games?
Mikel does because we've never taken them lightly in the semis.
I don't think he'd play a full starting 11 in those cup games.
When is he not? We've had it other semis and we've had evidence. He never
had a Carabao Cup semi though.
We've had an FA Cup semi.
Yeah, but that's late. That's late in the season when your season's already done.
We had Europa League games and group stages where he's played primarily adult.
That's what I was going to say as well. If we look at the patterns of play as well, look at last year. What happened after every Europa League game? We would go and lose the game after.
He hasn't been in a top 4 race. Like Europa League was more important, and FA Cup was more important.
He wasn't a top 4 race though. We lost it by 6 points last year.
But we weren't in the race though. We were never in the race.
I disagree. I think we were very much in the race until March.
No, there's no way we were in the after.
Mate, we were within 3 points of it. We didn't lose it until March, and we had that really poor run of form in March.
Numerically, we were close, but I never felt, we're in this top 4 race. No one did.
I did. I was in group chat saying, and the reason we lost it was legitimately that Chelsea game, and afterwards we went on a tank in March. In March last year.
We didn't play Chelsea in March.
I swear we faced Chelsea in March.
We won at Chelsea. We won at Chelsea. We won at Chelsea twice last year.
Yeah, we won the double in Chelsea last year.
When did we lose in March? We lost the game.
It was
in
that
March
December run we went on was horrendous.
Wolves.
No, because Wolves was February.
We played Chelsea in December, and we played them later on. I think it was
in May. We played Chelsea in December.
May, yeah.
Beat them.
Maybe it wasn't Chelsea. Who do we face in March? Because we went on a losing run in March, and at the end of February, we were within 3 points of top 4. That was the big thing because we hadn't made a decision on Europa League versus top 4. We lost it in March, and that let us go full strength in the Europa League.
The other thing I'm going to say is, do any of us actually think we're losing this game?
No,
we don't.
No,
I don't.
And you know what it is. We can disagree on whether it's important or not. And I personally think it would be better if we lost. But
if we only lost in March, we only lost to Olympiacos in all competitions.
In any case, if
I swear that we had lost the league game in March.
Just look up the game weeks and you'll see what you were thinking, George. But the point I'm trying to make is if we do win this game, we're playing 2 games at least, and that's fine. If that's how it has to be, that's how it has to be. But the one thing I will agree with Willow on is we have to minimize the amount of first teamers in this game. To as little as possible. The only reason why I have Xhaka in the team is because there's no Ainsley and there's no Lokonga. That's the only reason why.
Your issue isn't first teamers playing now; it's to play in January. No,
in January. That's the next thing I was going to say. If Ainsley and Lokonga are back for that, then I don't have that bigger problem.
I think we have to wait for the draw for that to become a problem.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And
I think there's no question. If you get into the semifinals, Mikel Arteta will not play.
Not both legs. If we play, say for example, let's put the scenario since we've been doing scenarios. Say Chelsea beat Brentford. Brentford beat Chelsea, and we get Brentford, and we beat them like 2-0 first leg. Do you think the second leg you won't rest players?
No, I don't. I think he'll go hard because he wants to complete the job.
He will want to
complete it. I don't think he goes full strength.
He's never shown me a time when he's rested at. In fact, one of his major critiques have been in throwaway, free hit type of games. He hasn't rested the squad enough. He's played the first team too much. That's been the criticism from many.
I think he'll rotate, but for me, like the issue isn't. I think the players.
The probability of results. I don't like the teams that are left in it. They are dangerous teams. They are teams that are competitors for top 4. If there was more Brentford games and the probability of the draw, maybe I'd be more open to it. But at this point,
it was
it's
like
literally
Newcastle,
only
Leeds, Brentford, like Nottingham Forest. You know what I mean? Like late.
3 of the 6 are top 4 challengers.
This is the point.
West
That's what
Ham,
I was going to say. Like if you were
Chelsea,
talking about lower half Premier League,
you want to
teams,
consider Leicester, but I don't really consider them top 4 challengers.
No, but the point is you've got dangerous teams in there, and these are teams that also are competing for top 4. And if we can pile on an extra advantage when they have to play extra games in January and they have to play those extra games.
I'll be honest. I think all this stuff is mute because I don't see us losing this game.
This is the last thing I was going to say.
Even whether you rotate heavy, you don't rotate.
The draw, anyways. We're gonna have like games like FA Cup in January, anyways. So.
But I've said this to Chris from before. I'm gonna be upset because I know that we're gonna win it, but I'm gonna be upset because I feel that the fixture congestion is gonna seriously hurt us. Especially
I agree.
In that January.
I agree, and this is the thing. I mean, our January isn't easy either. It's Spurs, Man City, and Wolves.
Because it's Spurs away.
But would you not have predicted this before, though?
Sorry? Yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to be happy with it.
Yeah, me and George spoke about this before, and he said that we should.
I said this since like October. I go, we're going to go through.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, even on the terrace, I've said the January, February part is going to define our season.
It's my most worried part of our season because it's the season that we have the most top 6 in congestion with each other. Because again, you face City,
Burnley. We said this in September. We said this in September when the fixture list came out. When CK was doing that show with the fixture list, I was
and
like,
it's also the point
January, February.
It's also the point mainly that United don't have Sirius. So there were 2 parts to the predictions in the summer, right? Up until December 4th, we had to gain maximum points because that was the point at which United had kind of difficult fixtures and we had fairly easy fixtures. That was a point to gain momentum and gain points. I don't think we did enough. Then in January, February, it switched. It's the point where we have tougher fixtures and they have easier fixtures, and there's an opportunity for them to gain ground. And I don't think that we did enough of a point separation to really be okay. If we had won against United and we ended up having an 8-9 point gap, I'm sitting here maybe saying, you know what, maybe the fixture congestion isn't horrible because if we lose 1 or 2 games, it isn't too bad. We still have the cushion between top 4. We can manage both teams. But right now, with 1 or 2 points and already with games in hands, the race is far too tight that, you know, again, I would never hope to lose a game, but it
at least there's no replays. That's the thing. If there's no replays in the FA Cup, so that's the only positive.
Yeah, there's no replays. So
I would prefer the FA Cup because for me, it's far more spaced than the Carabao. The Carabao adds a lot more fixture congestion and tight spaces where everyone else is, whereas the FA Cup, it's typically found, you know, in April, May, and even then the finals are separate.
It starts when Carabao ends. The
but that's also when people do Champions League. You know what I mean? So like it's not in between a tight schedule in terms of the number of games. It extends your Christmas period from basically the Man City point to February 1st of consistent games or multiple games a week.
I get the point on fixture congestion. Like we already have an extra game in January with FA Cup, like the 5th of January or something like that. We have Nottingham Forest. So I get your point, but like with Mikel, he won't. Like these players,
he won't do it. No, he will never do it.
Like not even Mikel. Forget Mikel. Forget the players. Like for the narrative and for the fan base to help the team, we can't lose versus Sunderland.
I'll be real with you. This is this for me is not about what Mikel will and won't do. I think this is purely as a fan and as someone that it will just say, look, top 4 is the goal this year. We need Champions League football.
I don't think that tomorrow bears any bearing on top 4.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't bear. But my point is, and it's quite clear.
The Twitter meltdown is insane, regardless of any loss.
Yeah,
I'm really not hearing that. I'm not hearing that.
Like, I think the draw. That's what I'm saying. Like, this all becomes a. If we get Brentford, I think your concerns are minimized
for sure.
No,
but I think again, if I was a betting man, and of the people that I could get, there's only one that I'm like, you know what,
we Brentford can take Liverpool. Is who you get because Klopp is like Wenger.
A little bit, but even with Liverpool, I can assure you, mate, the size of the game, people are going to get amped up, and I just know Mikel. Klopp may not, but Mikel won't. Mikel will start Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey, when he's, by the way, back from AFCON after having just come back, which I hope is canceled. But anyways, you're going to start Thomas Partey, who just came back from AFCON, and all your starters, Granit Xhaka, and have all these lads play games in tight periods, and it's just not something that's I think you lose your competitive advantage. A big reason that we've been able to be consistent is consistent lineups. Yeah. I fear that you can't do that with more games. The more games you have,
I think
the less consistency is.
I think our squad is like, for certain players like White, they're never injured anyways. So like guys like that, I don't worry about. Like,
but it's not even about the missing game. It's not even just about the missing game. It's the quality of them. Fine.
Anyway, boys, I think we've talked about this enough. I think we should move on.
Because at the end of the day, we're not gonna lose.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Which makes this point kind of dumb, and we're gonna wait to see the. But no, I'm just for once. Again, I told you it would be controversial. I'm just putting my anxiety about the fixture congestion because I felt this way since October, and I'm just so tunnel vision towards top 4. I've realized, guys, this is the first time that we've been able to field a consistent back 6 in over 3 games. First time in 2 years.
I don't know why you guys keep saying 6 when 6 is the back 4 and 1 of the pivot. Either back 5 or back 7,
I do back 6 because I never count the keeper. I think the keeper is the keeper. That's why I say back 6. But the pivot in the back line, we haven't had that for more than 3 games since Mikel's took over, period. It's the only time we've had it. We haven't had a consistent back 4 for over 10 games in almost 3 or 4 years. I don't think that's coincidence when past years have included more fixtures. I don't think that's coincidence that the first time that we've been able to field consistency in starting 11s, which has fruited a lot more consistency in results as well, isn't down to getting the same players on the pitch. I think that's a big issue.
Also, we have our centre backs aren't 30 and injury prone.
They're not. But I mean, even like to be honest, our centre backs weren't the issue. It really was Tierney, Granit. Those were the big issues. And when Luiz came, we didn't really have an alternative. But Granit was never supposed to get injured, and the man got MCL, even though he recovered really quick. Granit has never gotten an injury, and he's got the first serious one since he was 16. That guy never gets injured. So for me, it's all a matter of risk. And I don't know. I'm just sharing my anxiety. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in it in terms of fear.
Well, clearly you're not.
Sorry?
Well, I said, clearly you're not alone in this.
No.
I think do you want to go into predictions then?
I think so. Yeah, because now after all this fear, you're basically going to get straight W's across the board.
It's not fear. It's just one is people are misunderstanding what a free hit is, and second of all, people are not understanding what I'm trying to say.
I'm afraid, Karen.
I'm afraid as well. It's not even about fear. The fact of the matter is that with 2 more games, I'm not going to do it again. Forget it, I'm not going to do it again. It's pissing.
We're going to win them 2 games anyways.
But we're going to face Brentford too, and then Chris is going to be like,
we're going to get Brentford and Liverpool, win them 2 games. We're going to win the game before it on the 1st of Jan, and then everyone's going to be smiling here on BOP. Like,
I'm not going to be smiling.
Yeah, you will.
No, I won't.
Anyway,
I won't.
You will. No, if we win them 2 games, you're going to be smiling.
Do you think that Liverpool? I actually think that they go out.
Towards that, no.
Yeah.
Leicester.
Yeah, because I
do
think with AFCON they don't prioritize. Like Klopp already doesn't, and he has AFCON coming up, so he's not going to risk anybody. And he's already lost ground on the title race. So I think for me, I think Leicester do a shock, and I'm going to want to, like, for their season, they'll want something.
Yeah.
Willow, what's your prediction?
Fucking, to be honest, caught up in all the emotion. I haven't actually even thought about it. The actual scoreline. Okay,
Carabao.
4. Oh, we're at home, aren't we?
Yeah, we're at home.
We are.
3-0. 3-0.
I'm gonna go to that game.
3-0 to the arse.
3. I mean, that was what I said already. So.
Might as well zooged more XG, right? So we've got something like almost 2 XG in the last 3 games. We've got more than 15 shots.
This man just said Zooj.
We've got 15
Christ.
shots, 15 shots, 21 shots, 21 shots.
Yeah. What have the goals been doing?
3, 2, 4. So 9 the last 3. And the
Craziness.
XG.
It's almost as if we needed a better midfield consistency to to score more goals, but that's another emotional debate.
And Aubameyang gone.
Is Carabao with involved in the table or not?
Yeah.
Okay, if it's involved in the table, then I'll take it seriously.
Got ahead initially, if you remember. First Wimbledon, I was sitting at that game and I was like,
oh yeah, we did it for Wimbledon. Yeah, no,
the late 3-1. Christina was fuming.
I was like, oh no, Saka's coming on.
No, I'm gonna go 4. I originally said 3, but I'm gonna go 4. Screw it, 4-0.
I was gonna go 4-0. So because of that, I'm gonna go 1-0 to the Arsenal. I'm gonna
go 2 just for the excitement.
No, you can't because I went 2.
I can't because G and George went 2-0.
No. I'm saying George go 2-0 so we can have 1, 2, 3, and 4.
1-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, so that means we need to either concede or to get to score like 5 for someone not to get it. Anyways, I want it to be 1-0 or 3-0. So if I don't get it, Willow just makes the.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I want a big score line, like them to hold 5, like some serious.
I want us to hold a couple
because I think this team.
Well, stop that.
Stop. Yeah.
I don't care. Just get rid of this cup. Get rid of this cup.
If we lose, I don't want us to hold it though.
I don't really care. Oh, give us 7. I don't give a shit. Just. I
expressed fear, and Curran just went boom.
I just went 7. We should hold 7.
I don't care, man. Just get this shit out of my.
You really want that all or nothing BAFTA, don't you, bro?
I'm good, man. Like, seriously,
I want that trophy.
Because the thing is, you know what? I've said enough. It's 2 extra games in January. We're gonna be playing like Spurs like 3 times in a month. Bring it. I don't give a fuck. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Get out.
Look,
get out of it.
I think, and also, guys, something that we haven't talked about, like their manager was such an asshole. Even the new quotes. Even the new quotes, I'm like, fuck.
He said he wanted Tottenham or Arsenal, but he hasn't conceded. They haven't conceded 4 goals since like 2018.
Yeah, but they're also crap, man. Have you seen them? They're mid-table.
No, they're third.
They're third.
I swear they were mid-table.
They've been good, man. They were crap before their last draw. They've been good after that. Like they've been winning games. But like,
what's their last 5 game form-wise?
Their last 5 games, it is. I'll check that for you right now. 2 draws. What? 2 draws and 3 wins.
And 3 wins.
Yeah.
And one of them came from the trophy, right? Oldham?
No, they lost the trophy.
No, I'm not including that game. They lost that.
Oh, okay. You're only including league.
Yeah. They lost 5 league games. They haven't lost in the league since
these
November.
men drew to Ipswich, who are fucking under 23s beat. I don't know why you man are like this. I don't get it.
Because there is one objective this season, and it's not.
Don't you love the correlation? U23s beat Ipswich, and they. Therefore, I'm sorry. Very, very easy.
They've got Medidi.
The rollback. Everybody in the chat, make sure if you guys don't remember, look him up. That guy was crazy.
Chris, if he spins, if McGeady spin, you go on the pitch and slide him, Chris.
If he spins, I want a 2-footer. I want a Granit Xhaka 2-footer. You know,
if you're that big, so Chambers.
Oh my God.
Chambers does the slide tackling.
Yeah, what was the boy from Swansea that turned him into a sideshow? You guys remember what changed?
So on top of this, we're doing Chamber slander now. On top of all of this,
slander.
we're doing Chamber slander.
I'm going all in.
You're not listening, mate. You're not listening. It's not slander. He said if McGeady does the McGeady spin, Chambers should slide tackle him.
Yeah.
Slide tackle him. I thought you said Chambers will get past. Sorry.
No, I think he probably will. I'm not even gonna lie. Like he's isolated. He's isolated 1v1. What can somebody in the chat? Do you guys remember when Chambers got stripped? Like no other. It was Swansea. It was the little Colombian winger, I think.
Oh my god. No,
why are we doing this? Why?
Do you guys remember? He got.
I don't want to remember.
Jefferson Montero, throwback performance with a McGeady spin, and then we just need, Omar Rekic to come in and 2-foot him from Tunisia. That's what I'm looking
used
for.
To cause us big problems Wenger era, like Meet You.
They did.
Oh my God.
Big pro. They beat us 5-0.
Ashley Williams.
Yeah, that's what Curran wants tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah. I don't care. My whole thing, I'm just gonna say this again. My whole thing is I want the signings that we could get with Champions League football this next
oh my
summer.
God,
I don't care about anything else. I don't care about anything else. Forget the Carabao, forget the FA Cup, forget everything. Just top
what's his name?
Bafétimbi Gomez.
Bellerin's insane tackle.
Oh,
yeah,
on Gomez.
He went round the check. Yeah.
No, like we've had some weird moments in this.
There is one goal this season is to progress the project by actually getting top 4 and getting the signings next season.
Here's actually a good question, though, just because we've all kind of waffled a lot in the last 5 minutes, and we had an emotional debate. For once on Bop, we were very divided.
Current.
You've got Martinelli, who's been in crazy form. We all said no first teamers.
No. I don't want him playing.
Do you think that, Martinelli essentially somebody that could come in and have a lot of goals, is that beneficial for him, especially given that he's a confidence player? And the only reason I bring that up is because at the moment, he's approaching really, he's got 6 goals and assists in league. Do you think in 5 games, is it?
In last 6. He's played. I'll check the numbers because I think he's played the last 6 games.
Do you think for a youngster that's in form, and I think he's very much a confidence player himself, is that too much of a risk, so to speak?
Yeah, too much of a risk. And the thing is, he still look at what he did at Leeds. The amount of running he did. He doesn't need to play that game. Just leave him 1 a week at the moment. Let him settle down.
You know what he is? He reminds me of the wind-up toys that just go. And they just go in a line, and you gotta basically remove the battery from him in order to stop him. Otherwise, he just keeps going. He doesn't know how to stop. So yeah, and I think Mikel also, he kind of referenced it too, right? Like he's kind of somebody that he has to stop.
But instead of doing toys for a second, let's just answer this question. Top 4 and Saka goes City, or 6th and 1 more year rebuild and pushed next season.
6.
If you think I'm getting Saka up for anything, there's just no. I do not want to go into
you guys, because there's been this weird obsession that people are leaving.
I think it's not an obsession. It's
PTSD
from.
Yeah. But literally, Saka's the one. You know what I don't get? People are like, "Oh, Martinelli will never leave us." He got picked up from the 4th division. Oh, Emile Smith-Rowe, he's a one-club man. He said it before. Meanwhile, Bakayo's the only one that's really referenced Rocastle on multiple times on his Instagram.
I think it's because he's the big gun.
Mate, for me, it's the most clear. I love Emile, and Emile has said about a one-club man, but Saka is entrenched in this club. He's always in every single advert.
I honestly think out of them 3, if one was to leave,
Nelly.
I think Nelly, because he's not English.
Yeah.
We'll have more clubs up for him, but Saka is Bayern and City, but Nelly will have Italian clubs.
No, but even if it was Nelly, I don't think it would be like a Nelly decision to go. It'd be like an Alex Song situation where we push him out the door because there's so much money. I
honestly don't think. I think they all love the club, and Martinelli strikes me as the kind of guy.
No, I don't think they'll all be one club.
I think we got Martinelli so young that he didn't even arrive quite yet, and that was key. Like if I was talking about a Martinelli that was already 21 years old and bagged a bit, then like cool, I think we'd be having a different. Yeah,
he's so grateful to us. But for me,
he's
I think
already talking about a contract extension. He signed last year.
I don't think there'll be one club men. I think like Saka will go to Bayern at like 35 or something.
Yeah, like at the last contract where we're like,
they'll take
go for it.
But like honestly though, I wouldn't take top. I wouldn't take finishing 6th if it meant Saka. I wouldn't take 4th if Saka left because that money you won't be able to replace him anyways unless you buy Salah.
Yeah. Maybe we should do. We'll do another 15 minutes of comments, lads. So boys in the comments, make sure that you put on that question mark for us to know it's a question, and we'll go through there. But yeah, boys, in all, after all this emotional debate, I think we end up having a very cruiserweight win, which is just crazy, you know.
You think we dominate? Like dominate, pick them off?
I do. I think it's a 66% possession game.
That is weird.
Can't remember.
66 is so pinpoint.
66.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I went so specific, but I have a feeling it's going to be 66% possession, and it's weird because I only went
full league gunner on this one. Lose, motherfuckers, lose.
For me, I think like obviously I'm going to be there, and I just don't know how I feel about it. I never felt going into this game.
Do you really think that we only do 1-0 at the ends, though?
Have I seen that this season?
Have we seen one?
Norwich.
We have a question, people.
Yeah, Norwich.
Norwich is our only 1-0, but that's when.
But then that's when we zooged 30 shots. But
that's where we had 30 shots and broke the record.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So we got some questions. I don't have to waffle and sit here. Do I see breaking into the first team next season? A lot.
They haven't broken yet.
Yeah, a lot. I actually see. I see Keto Taylor Hart breaking in. I see Brooke Norton Cuffey breaking in. I see Miguel Aziz coming back, breaking in, and I see Balogun coming in. I think we've got another class ready to come in.
Do you really think Norton Cuffey? Really?
I do, because he's taken a huge step forward this season, Willow. We were talking with Christina about this. You know, when he went away for he played left back for England, which was crazy because, you know, it's not his position, and that team trusts him infinitely. And, you know, he's been amazing with Betsy this season, and he really favors the system switch. But also, he's 19 now, and he's just physically. I swear he's got a birthday, mate, coming up.
Whoa.
Coming up doesn't mean it's happened.
I don't know, but it's just like for me, I think we signed an overlapping right back in the summer, and then you got Tommy Hassan and
no, false. Yeah, he's got one in January, but he'll be 18 then.
He'll be 18 and when?
In January.
I know it because he's younger than me.
He went to the 19s, right?
He's been playing 19s for a long time.
A long time, yeah. But I think he's physically so ready, guys. He's just a monster. And for me, as a backup role, in like the Tavares role, when you get like 1 or 2 games, he totally can do it. And I have this feeling that with Saliba back, we have options at right back, namely, you know, Ben White, who could do that. And
for me, because you didn't say Arsenal, I'm gonna I think Jesurun Raksaki in Palace will break through. He has like 10 league goals in Premier League 2 on the wing, so he's been doing very well for Palace. I think Thierry Small he has 3 goals this season from left back, so I think he might. Obviously, that's George's guy. I don't want to talk about him too much, but I think he might break in. But I think Hannibal might break in for United, even though United don't promote a lot, but he's been getting a lot of time for his international team. And I think when you play that much on the international stage, eventually you might have to get brought up. So those are 3 players, and maybe Harvey Vale for Chelsea. Because
I'll be real,
Villa have some really exciting youth too.
With Carney, but they've already broken through though.
They haven't, but they've also got some exciting youth that should come through. But also Rennes, Ugo Chukwu, who is already broken through in a sense.
Yeah, Leslie.
I think he'll become a household name though next season, in my opinion. In France.
Leslie and Carney will break through. They're the big names in Nigerian football. Sadly, go on, Corinne. So
the only name that you ever mentioned that I thought is someone I do think could come through is Daniel Ballard. And I think as a centre back, if you have watched him this season, he's been performing in the Championship very well. He's been very, very good, and especially he's injured right now. But the fact is, we're going to be seeing. I feel at least 2 centre backs leave this year in the summer. I feel like both Chambers and Holding will leave, and with Saliba coming back, there will be a spot open for that 4th/5th centre back role. And I do think it's Daniel Ballard, and I think at his age and with the experience he's had, I think there is a way that he can maybe see a Carabao Cup game, a Carabao Cup game, or an FA Cup game, or something like this. But yeah,
you guys think that we see a 4-3-3 tomorrow?
No,
with the second string, maybe a flat 3, but he won't play Ainsley, so no.
In terms of Lukunga and Aziz, I did this exact fear in the summer. I felt that when we bought Lukunga, it would be at competition for Aziz, and I don't think that Lukunga wins that battle. That's maybe something that, for a lot of people that haven't seen Aziz, he's a player. That boy.
Me, I've got a bias, obviously.
There's one more. I'll go after you.
You got a Congolese bias?
Yeah, people would say that, but I think I think Aziz would win that. I was on a couple of spaces in the summer talking about Lukonga and Aziz, and thinking Aziz would get his chance this year, but obviously they've taken time to improve off the ball, away from the limelight, which is good for him, because I feel like when you're under the limelight, you can only do so much. So when he improving away from the club is better for him. So yeah, I think Aziz would be better.
Maybe we'll combine Michael and Yo-Yo's question in a sense.
But let me just do one more. There is one more before we do move on.
At Arsenal?
Yes. Think, both of you. Striker, Blackpool.
Beereth is not.
Beereth won't be ready.
Not breaking through.
Muller?
No,
Tyrese
won't. He'll go on another loan.
Do you think he'll go on another loan? I think he might get some. Either he'll play the Aziz role next season. No,
he hasn't shined.
Yeah, he hasn't been good.
He hasn't been good, but the fact is, so
he won't get a chance.
Second half of the season, he can play Aziz role. I reckon he'll play.
No way. We have too many strikers that are better than him, or not better than him, but been
further along.
Yeah,
you man were talking about breakthroughs. How many games are you talking? Because I really
just cameos with like debuts.
Yeah, Champions League debuts.
Okay, so debuts. Okay, maybe then, because
I'm not talking Martinelli like first season under Emery. I'm talking
Bukayo Saka 2018. Yeah, so maybe 5. Yeah,
a real player.
Champions League and that, I don't even think 5 games to most of them.
Yeah, they'll get like these Champions League cameos that United have
cameos. Yeah.
I mean, apparently we're looking at Patino coming through, but it's just I don't see it.
No, I don't see it even. I'd have to see something in the summer.
This is true. They play 3-5-2, 3-4-1-2, or 4-2-3-1. In their last Carabao Cup game, they play 4-2-3-1.
Mm-hmm. I think they match us up and they go pivot.
They went to Pens. They went.
Given how we've played against 3 at the back teams, I think your manager would be very stupid to play a 3 at the back.
He is stupid for him to come out and talk like that. So we'll see.
No, but I think they're going to have a very they'll give a very physical run. They'll try to give us the Everton treatment. In terms of that, Europa League is absolutely a better step for youngsters in their development. It allows them more space and time to express themselves, and it's easier for them to do that.
I think Champions League though is better for to break onto the scene.
It's better for a Martinelli type of youngster, somebody looking to get global recognition. Maybe not so much break into the first team, but cement himself in the starting 11.
Or like a Balogun, who you feel like if they play, like they'll make a name for themselves.
Exactly. Like they'll make global recognition, whereas I think the Europa is much better for somebody getting used to adult football, period.
Yeah.
But do you guys want to maybe combine, and we'll go around? I'll start with Willow. So, mate, like Obazet, they're essentially gone. What's your experienced striker that you want to come in and maybe combine it? Since there's a lot of Barca or Juve links, like would you swap?
Why are you bringing it back up, man?
I want to bring it back up. Why wouldn't I?
Would it be? Is there anything from Barca or Juve that you would swap for or use in a deal for?
Not really.
Oh, Barca or what?
Or
Leave
Juve.
him. Stop doing that, Karen, man. You know he's not going to change.
I mean, not really, because I don't think, like, if I'm being realistic, Barcelona aren't really going to get rid of any of their youth players or anything like that. I mean, I'll take a Frankie de Jong if a Frankie de Jong's going, if we could do that plus cash, but it's because there's whispers of him leaving, and he always said that he wanted to come to Arsenal and to do the Overmars route, but maybe he could do that in reverse. So, but apart from that, no, I'd rather just get rid of Alba, get him off the wage book. Barcelona's players are on ridiculous wages as well, so we'd have to try and match that. And same with Juventus, I wouldn't be swapping really any of their players. But for a striker to come in, it's difficult at the moment, really, because everyone's going for a striker that would fit how we play now. But we're going to be playing very differently to what we're going to be playing in a year's time.
This has been my thing. People keep telling me, like, George, there's no way that a pivot will help you with creativity. Shock horror, the pivot has helped us with creativity. Like, I think people are really confusing the Band-Aid solution that we've had to do because of our ability in the middle of the park to play versus if that's the long-term ploy. And I've always questioned that. So I think we're going to learn a lot in January. Maybe we can like pivot that question, and we're going to have a January pod. People keep saying we tease it, but don't worry, it's coming. We're not
return of the podcast maybe, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll have a space for you guys to have your say.
Sure.
But in terms of January, lads, like, do you guys not think that this could give a little bit more of an idea of where Mikel wants to go? Because I feel that we'll definitely do something. But
I think a signing will push either way, like the formation way, because it will be like what he wants to.
Do you think so though, mate? Like if I get what I want, which is an Awar, I don't think it says yay or nay to
obviously
either
no,
formation.
But I think there's certain players you could sign that will push one way. Like if he signs
like an
if he signs a DM or like a starting DM in Jan, which I don't think happens. Like, where would Partey play, or where would that DM play if we move 4-3-3?
I don't know if there is a starting DM that's available.
That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't do it because we can't. But if it happened, where would we go? Like, we wouldn't be.
Basuma's the only one, but jailbait, and it's like I don't
even know what happened to him. Like,
I don't know.
Jailbait, what?
We don't know, innit?
Innit?
You know.
Question.
Do we still want Basuma?
Let the jury have the verdict on that. Let's have the jury. I'll let
if it's not jailbait.
I am worried about saying much on that. But in theory, that's another one that's in your 18 months of contract. That's another one that's a cheaper EPL adaptation. But again, I'm worried about where that man's future is in confined spaces or in space. Yeah. Do we have maybe one more question? Do we want to go through, lads? Thoughts on Akinola, maybe? So Akinola has been one of those players with Kevin Betsy that's had a little bit of a revival, similar to Joel Lopez, who were people that were previously not as well thought of. For me, I think Akinola is an extremely raw person that I think has a lot of what I value in players, but in reality has very little football IQ and some very large positioning issues. But he's been playing phenomenally for the under-23s, and Kevin Betsy's really had an impact on him and Joel Lopez. And so for me, Akinola is somebody that I absolutely would struggle with. In a sense, he's somebody that I think could develop into something rare, but he is a really big work in progress. Despite playing really well with Kevin Betsy, he's benefited from a 3 at the back system and the way that Kevin Betsy's used him. So, and I mean the reason I say low football IQ is because he's very rash. If you do, I don't want to say somebody's dumb, but if you do look at what his play is like, he is very, very rash.
It's dumb.
Maybe we'll go through with in terms of the 5-yard burst. How many yards? I think it's in there, mate. The answer.
There you
go. But in terms of this question, so do you believe that ESR will play the false 9 again, or can you believe the João Felix talk? I would say that João Felix screams as a Mikel Arteta player. And for all my subjective feelings about striker, he is the type of player that Mikel would want in that role. I don't believe that it's a feasible thing to look at, because even with Champions League football, our relationship with Atletico Madrid is horrific. And so while I think Mikel Arteta would want him and somebody like him, I don't believe that they would request anything less than the full release clause of 110 million pounds or something like that, because I swear he's got a 120 million euro release clause.
Something like that,
yeah.
And so for me, I think at that level, I'd rather spend it on Declan Rice. I'd rather spend it, on other players. And he's not a guarantee in terms of a success, in my opinion. I think he'd do really, really well. But he would struggle to adapt. And I don't think that's a possibility with Atletico Madrid.
João Felix, for me, obviously he's a baller. I think he's a bit overrated for what he's actually done. But I feel like he's got very, very big potential. But
people misprofile him though, don't they, Chris? Because for me, he's going to be a lot more of a striker than people think. People picture Firmino about linking play. And while he has a dribbling bag, he has massive ball striking technique that Firmino only wishes he has.
That's what broke him onto the scene, the long shots in Europa.
Yeah.
So he was scoring long shots in Europa. I think he got a hat trick in Europa as well in the knockouts. So
how have we turned a Sunderland preview into João Felix?
Oh,
it always happens. And they love the transfer talk. They do.
It was the questions. I think obviously João Felix is like a baller, and obviously may eventually warrant the money. But I think where we are, 100 mil to splash.
There's very few players for me, mate, that I would switch philosophies for. And
here we go.
And I've said it in the past that he is somebody that falls in that category, but there's also somebody else that when you start talking about the 100 million pound signings,
for me, it's Bellingham.
You get into the Bellingham shouts if you're willing to spend that. And for me, somebody like a Jude Bellingham does far more than a João Felix does. Again, Declan Rice for me does far more than a João Felix does. He's
a very good player, but I think he's overrated for what he's actually done, just because of what he can do. And there's a couple players like that, but obviously Simeone's holding back, and that 7-year deal or something he signed was an awful deal to sign. But it is what it is. And I think before we go, the last question you should answer is this, George. And everybody should answer if your thoughts on it.
I'll keep it short. I mean, you guys can go, but why not? He's the best DM in the league. When you're starting to look at exports from the Premier League, Declan Rice is the best DM talent in the world. He's 24, homegrown, tax. He's single-handedly keeping West Ham within even a contention of top 4 and Europa League contention. It literally comes down to what can't he do? He's absolutely able to be a lone 6. I've said that he's really improved his tempo control this season, and people are coming around to him being the best DM in the league. And yeah, sorry, mate. I mean, Declan Rice, you know it. Why is he worth that? I think Declan Rice doesn't go for less than 89 million pounds, and that's the cheapest he could go.
What a weird number. For me, obviously, Declan, I was saying since last season, and I got a lot of stick for it.
It would give us the best midfield in world football, not just the league. It would just factually give us Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, Emile Smith-Rowe.
I've been saying he's the best DM in the league, but a lot of people say it's Fabinho, and obviously he's up there. But
he's not. Even statistically this season, Declan Rice is clearing all the metrics.
Yeah, I thought you were about to say he's not the best, but he is. I think he's the best. Like watching him versus West Ham.
This is me we're talking about. Right?
Watching him versus West Ham live was he pissed me off after the 30th minute. From the 30th minute to the end of the first half, like he's their build up, he's their everything, like he's their transition control.
And even psychology-wise, mate. Sorry to cut you off, but like the way he dictates play and he points and he organizes people, that's what Partey needs next to him. And also not just Partey, that's also what Patino needs next to him. And he would be the future.
Yes.
He would secure you. When you spend £100 million, I've said this before, it has to answer three questions. Can he operate in your team for a greater than 8 years? Facts. Can he provide you with a spine in multiple position? Facts.
Yes.
Is he top 3 in your position? Facts.
Yes.
And so that is the metrics that you have to do if you're ever spending above even £65 million, I would argue. But I used the £100 million mark because that's the flop signing. And there is zero chance of Declan Rice flopping. There is zero chance of Jude Bellingham flopping. I don't know if I actually do that with João Felix. That is something that I don't know about.
Because he's more potential than the other two, even though Bellingham is younger, which is weird.
Look, I'm the one I'm watching him right now.
I'd risk it all. I'd waste the entire budget on that man and be totally happy.
I am 5 games.
Content.
I'm 5 games into scouting him, and what I will say is I completely agree with the guys. But what I would also like to add is the temp. There's 3 things that I love about Declan Rice. One is his ability to control a game by just dictating the pace of how he runs his team, i.e., the tempo control of the team. He controls how the team plays that every game.
Issa, sorry, Curran, go on, but Rice alone makes us title challengers. Period.
Correct.
We could do nothing all summer, get Declan Rice, and we'd be title challengers.
We're already going to be that 3rd this season, so imagine with Rice. Crazy.
Fuck's sake.
And the second thing is his ability to pass from deep in all 3 directions, i.e., to go to either wing or pass vertically, is just unmatched in this league right now. His passing range, his ability in terms of ball striking, in terms of both passing and shooting as well, he's got such great technique. And the third thing is he's very, very stable in terms of not being injury prone. Me and the guys were discussing this earlier about his gait being very, very replicable and sustainable.
I'm not even ashamed of that. That Declan Rice, in terms of when you're looking at it, what people are looking at what Granit Xhaka has offered with Thomas Partey at a BTEC version right now. About what this man could offer and what impact that had on the creativity. You put Declan Rice in this team, in this current Arsenal team, and do nothing else, that man takes us to title challengers. He makes you have consistently 20 shots per game on his own.
Like we have the last 3. Well, last 15, 21, 21.
Yeah.
So for me, with Declan Rice, obviously, if you've been watching BOP since the start, you know, I said it before, this guy below me. But like with Rice, I think that he's the best, obviously the best DM in the league, massive leader, English, and I think the English thing helps us because
he would be my captain too. Like he solves so many issues
in the past as a team for being too foreign, but we'd probably be the most British team in out of the league ones if we do.
We'd have an entire spine.
So then Rice is the guy for me, and 100 mil, he's worth it. Yeah, and I just think that the tempo control, the leadership, the doors, the pace, the power, everything, like he just wouldn't flop. But I'd sign Declan Rice. And quickly though, we didn't say this about Grealish in the summer. We
didn't. Very
much said that he wouldn't. He's a poor signing for City to break their record, and 100 mil release clause was not worth it for City in particular. Other teams. Even no other team in the big 6 should have paid that 100 mil release clause for Grealish. Obviously, he's a very good player, but City need to stop turning these another ball to feet player when you have so many. But
again, I've said, just to repeat, my dream window for 165 million pounds, Declan Rice at 100 million, 45 million for Raido Baku. I think you could get Houssam Aouar for 20 million, especially in his contract state, and you get Zakaria on a free as well as Johnston. Right there, you spend 10 or 20 million more than what we did this last summer, and you make us.
I don't know how you want Sam Johnston, though. I really don't. Like, he's fucking.
No, I just want a backup. I just want a backup. That's
if we're getting a backup, we should get
homegrown
as well. We should get Matty Ryan back if we want a backup.
No, but he's not a homegrown.
I'll take him.
Yeah, but-
Mate, with
Okay,
Brexit
I think
FC as it
we're
is, we've
done.
got plenty of homegrown.
No, wait, are we over the homegrown quota?
Don't know. I think so.
We've got one less now because when
Yeah.
Willian left, we've got a free spot.
And isn't Matty Ryan at Sociedad, no?
He is at Sociedad now.
Yeah.
Not playing.
So we'd have to pay a fee then.
No, he's not playing though. I don't think it would be. I think we'd be able to get him.
For free.
No, but it'd be at least like 1 to 2 million. I don't think it'd be very much.
I think, well, obviously, we keep doing this Rice and Felix. So
If we get Declan
Pushing-
Rice, George will be drunk on a YouTube stream for all of you. We'll do a drunk episode with George.
stop.
Because Christine's complaining that I
Don't
do this
bring
too often.
everybody. Don't bring everybody into your stuff, innit? So I think we
No,
just
I'll
leave
be
the
drunk.
Rice
You guys
talk-
can be sober.
We leave the Rice talk for when we talk about transfers. But yeah, Sunderland, we'll go through the predictions again just to refresh your minds. Obviously, George was 2-0, Z was 2-0, Willow was 3-0, Karen was 4-0. Karen, you're sticking with 4-0, and CK is
Go on, change again.
He's 1-0. Don't you dare change it.
Change
back
again.
on
Smiling
the
away.
team's not finished. Back on our change.
Change
You
again.
can. I just think it's weak.
Weak. I was thinking 4-0, and I was gonna say it, but Karen switched. That's why I said 1-0.
The only reason I switched is because Willow said 3.
Well, maybe you guys should learn how to just take it. And be a fucking man. that is out of context.
What does that
Jack
even
was on a
mean?
mad one.
Yeah.
Damn.
What does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything.
Man said take it.
Take it,
I knew
bro.
exactly
Cool,
where
hold
George's
it.
mind went. Anyways, I think I'll go for a 1-0. Why not?
1-0.
Yeah. So go on, George. You can do your thing before
I
we
can do
go.
my thing. All right, guys, this was a little bit of a crazy stream. We went a little bit off. We got emotional. We got funny. But make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and you hit that bell for notifications so that you know when we do upload. We've got a ton of stuff coming back. So make sure you guys are sticking with us. Hopefully you guys found us just a little bit more funny than some of our previous episodes. We're not always serious. Sometimes we love, we hate. We did a little bit of kiss and made up tell in this episode. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think that we're going to go to a really nice win tomorrow. I think we just focused game by game. And guys, make sure that maybe you put in some comments about what you want us to improve. I always say constructive criticism, please. Like, we're still learning. And please share this with your friends. We're pushing towards 1K. So if you like us to keep cranking out the content, making new things, and you're excited for some of the member content that we have signed up, make sure that you guys, subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. You can follow us at BOP Footy on Twitter. You can find me at GeorgeV_AFC. Willow, mate, where can they find you?
Oh, the one Willow.
There we go. Curran, mate, where can they find you?
It's on the screen. Current BOP.
and Christina, where can they find you?
And for me, pure CKK, but I'm switching to 4-0. And and it's
Everyone in the comments, give him grief. That's
Yeah,
weak
give him
behavior. He can't stand it.
The pre-Arsenal
anyways,
Z.
if you've been in the
The
comments,
Z is in
I
here.
I do it every single game. So,
I know he does.
Make sure you
Facts.
follow Priv-Arsenal Z on Twitter.
yeah, _Z and get
Yeah.
BOP Footy to 500
500
followers.
subs. 500 followers. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on 497, so we're close. Anyways, yeah, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Peace.